Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege with the parashos of Nitzavim and Vayilech. And in Parashas Nitzavim, Moshe Rabbeinu again continues to set the table for Klal Yisrael for what is going to be in the future. And it is in this parashah of Nitzavim that Moshe Rabbeinu says something overwhelmingly dramatic. He tells Klal Yisrael, I just want to tell you, you're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes are going to be so severe that they're going to fracture your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And sometimes the fracture itself will be so severe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kiviyachol will have no choice but to exile you, to send you away from your beloved land, to disperse Klal Yisrael again amongst all the four corners of the world. But then Moshe Rabbeinu gives an incredible message of chizuk. Just know that although a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu can be fractured, it's never dissolved. And even if Hashem has to exile you, He'll gather you back. And even if the relationship is strained, if you do tshuva, if you make your way back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Ribono Shel Olam will make His way back to you. And in a stunning example of this, Moshe Rabbeinu says in Parak Lamed, Pasuk Dalet, chapter 30, verse 4, so literally it's translated that even if you're dispersed to the ends of the heavens, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will gather you from there, and from there He will take you. A beautiful pasuk. No matter how scattered, no matter how dispersed, no matter how exiled you may be literally again on the other side of the world, wherever you are, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will scoop you up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take you back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will return you. If I make the effort to come back to the Ribono Shel Olam, then He makes the effort to seek me out wherever I may be. But the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh asks an interesting question. He says, the phraseology is strange. Im yiyeh nedichacha b'ktzei hashamayim. Even if you are scattered, b'ktzei hashamayim, to the ends, literally translated, to the ends of the heavens. It should say, Im yiyeh nedichacha b'ktzei haaretz. If you're scattered to the ends of the earth. What do you mean if you're scattered to the ends of the heavens? What does that mean? A person doesn't live in the heavens. A person lives in the earth, on the earth. So what does it mean that a person is going to be scattered? So even if you're scattered to the ends of the heavens, biktsei hashamayim, ultimately again, I'll bring you back. And the Rebbe says something absolutely amazing. The Rebbe says, what does it mean? When literally we translate, if you will be scattered to the ends of the heavens, afilu im yisha'er b'cha rak kortov shel shemimios. So the Rebbe says like this: you could have a person who has made so many bad decisions and so many wrong turns in life that it looks like they've divested themselves of the totality of their holiness and spirituality. We've all been in moments like this where, there are mistakes and then there are mistakes. Right? Mistakes, with a lowercase mem, and mistakes with the uppercase. And there are some doozies in life where after I do it, I'm like, what? I'm done. But the incredible part of the Yid, the incredible part of the Jew, is that no matter how much I mess up in life, there is always some residual bit of Kedusha inside of me. As long as I am alive and breathing, that means I have a neshama. That neshama is chelak elokami ma'amamish, is a spark of the Ribono Shel Olam. So as long as I'm alive, I have a neshama. As long as I have a neshama, there is a spark of God. And as long as I have that spark of God, that means there is some amount of holiness still left in me, no matter how badly I have messed up in life. Says the Rebbe, that's the meaning of the phrase. Im yiyeh nedichacha. Sometimes we make such bad mistakes, right? That I'm nidach. I'm so far away. And the only thing that's left in me is kitzei hashamayim. Kitzei also means just like a little bit, like the ends. All there is a little bit left of shamaimius. Only a little bit of shamayim, only a little bit of holiness. Shamayim, the heavens, represent holiness and spirituality. Sometimes in life I mess up so badly. I'm so far away. I'm literally nidach. I'm cast away. And all there's left in me is kitzei hashamayim. a little tiny spark of holiness. And I might look at myself and I say, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. There is nothing redeemable. There is nothing salvageable. There's nothing to go ahead and work with. There's no chomer biyad hayotzer. There's no more clay. There's no more material to work with me. I'm done. In order, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, you look in the mirror and you say, Im yenedi chacha, you think you're so far, and all you have is ketzer shemaim, a little shemaimius, a little bit of holiness, a shtik ruchnius, a little bit of holiness inside of you. What does Kadosh Baruch Hu say? Misham yikabetzcha Hashem Elokecha. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't need a lot to help you out of the abyss. Misham, as long as you have a little bit of your kitzei hashamayim, as long as you have a little spark of holiness left in you, Misham yikabetzcha Hashem Elokecha. From there, from that last residual spark, from that last little bit of holiness, from that kitzei hashamayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Misham, from there, yikabetzcha, I'll gather you back. Misham yikachecha. From there, ultimately, I will take you. What an incredible and overwhelming thing. All that Kadosh Baruch Hu needs is a little spark of holiness. All that Kadosh Baruch Hu needs is like a little bit of a flare. You know, person stranded, so what do? They shoot a flare into the sky. What's the flare? The flare is a tiny little bit of light. Tiny little bit of light. That lasts for how long? A couple of seconds? But it's that flare, it's that burst of light, that little bit of light that allows the rescuers to find the stranded individual. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't need you to be a tzaddik. All I need for you is to recognize your kitzei hashamayim. All I need for you is to recognize your little bit of holiness. And if you could be makir, if you could recognize that you have a little bit of holiness, misham yikabetzcha. From that we could work together. From that I could gather you. From that I could take you. From that we could reconnect and reestablish our relationship. We're entering in this Shabbos, Matzah Shabbos is Yimei HaSlichos. And we begin the process of tshuva. And we begin the process of coming home. And we begin the process of just reigniting that relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? Isn't it all about reestablishing and reconnecting with our Father, who loves us more than we could ever imagine? Whether we recognize it or not, so often in life we just look at ourselves as damaged goods. We don't even try. I don't even try to really do tshuva. I don't even really try to really push myself. Why? Because although I won't say it, or I won't even think about it consciously, but subconsciously, I've given up on myself. Because I am yenedi chacha. I'm a nidach. I'm a castaway. I've made so many bad decisions, and I've made so many wrong turns. And the truth is, every single time I tell myself I'm not going to make that wrong turn again, I make it again. And every single time I say, you know what, I'm not going to do this Aveira, I do it again. And there comes a point in time where, you know what, I give up on myself. I just give up on me. The reason I'm not the best version of me is not because of anyone else. It's because I have given up on me. But there's a good reason, I tell myself. I know I have given up on me. How do you not give up on a person who makes the same mistakes over and over? How do you not give up on a person who makes the same promises to be different and to live differently year in and year out, and yet is still the same person? I give up on me because I feel like I've exhausted all of my opportunities to affect real personalistic cathartic change. If I was going to become someone greater, I would have already become that person. And the fact that I have not yet become him seems to indicate that I'm not going to become him. I am imiyeh nedichacha. I'm the castaway. And comes Parshas Nitzavim. And the Ribono Shel Olam whispers in my ear, my beautiful child, why are you giving up on yourself? You still have Biktsei HaShomayim. There's a little bit of heaven inside of you. There's a little bit of holiness inside of you. Okay, you've made bad decisions. We got to talk about those, right? You've made some poor choices. We definitely have to work through that. You've committed some pretty grievous errors, and yes, we are going to have to figure out what that means and how we navigate out of that. But my beautiful, precious child, the Kadosh Baruch Hu whispers into our ears, why are you giving up on yourself? B'ktzei hashamayim. You have a little bit of heaven still inside of you. You have a little bit of holiness still inside of you. I know you feel that you've divested yourself of the majority of your holiness, and maybe you're right. Maybe you have squandered away the majority of your personalistic holiness. But even if you're right, I don't know if you're right, I don't know if you're wrong. Maybe even if you're right, you still have B'ktzei hashamayim. There's a little bit of holiness left in you. And all HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, all I need is that flare. All I need is that little bit of holiness. Misham ikabetzcha. That little bit of holiness, that's where we're going to reconnect. Umisham ikachecha. That's where I'll take you back. Find your little bit of holiness. Find your spark. Find your flare. And that's where you are going to reconnect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because if you could find a little bit of goodness inside of yourself, if you could find your B'ktzei hashamayim, then you have the materials with which to rebuild and to rehabilitate your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We give up on ourselves because we think we no longer have the capability to rehabilitate and rebuild and re-energize and revitalize our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And meanwhile, there's nothing further from the truth. You know what our avoda is? If you're the kind of person, and many of us are, who just, I'm so down on myself. I'm so disappointed in myself. It's Elul again, and it's Rosh Hashanah again, and I'm still grappling with the same things, with the same struggles, with the same difficulties. And I told myself last year, this is the year. This is the breakout year. This is the year when everything's going to change. I'm tired of making empty promises. And yet for many of us, I find myself in the same space, in the same place, and I'm ready to throw in the towel. You know what our avoda is? Find your B'ktzei hashamayim. Find your goodness. Don't focus on your averos yet. We'll get to that. But first order of business is find your goodness. Find what's beautiful about you. Identify what makes you great. What areas are you operating on all cylinders? What do you do well? How are you mekadesh shem shamayim? What do you do in life day in and day out that puts a smile on the Ribono Shel Olam's face? What are you doing that's right? You know, we think this is the season to focus on everything I'm doing wrong. And yes, there's a place for that. But before you can get to that, identify your B'ktzei hashamayim. Identify your little bit of shamimius. Identify your holiness. Identify your goodness. Because if you could identify that, and we all have it, that goodness is the flare, that goodness is the spark that creates the opportunity to remake, to reforge, to rehabilitate, and to revitalize our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Find the good and build off that. So for many of us who may be struggling with feelings of yeosh, feelings of sadness and despair as we enter into these days, push them out. Push them to the side. Find your B'ktzei hashamayim. Find your repository of goodness and beauty that resides within each of us. And recognize that if you see it, just know HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees it as well. And it's that little bit of light. Maybe it's only a little spark, but it's that little bit of light that shows HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm still here. And if I'm still here, then there's a relationship that could be rekindled, a relationship that could be rebuilt. May each of us be Zilcha Mir Hashem on this Shabbos of Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, the Shabbos of Slichus, to find our B'ktzei hashamayim. And even if right now it's only a little spark, maybe Zilcha Mir Hashem to fan it into a beautiful, raging fire of relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And may this Yamim Noraim season be a time where our Father comes back to us, where we come back to Him, and the beautiful relationship once again rages like a bright, luminescent fire. Wishing everyone a good Erev Shabbos and a Ksiva v'chasima tova.